Hello again. I'm so glad you've arrived here. Whether you're curled beneath soft blankets, whether your room is filled with the hush of midnight, or whether the day still lingers faintly at your window, you've made it, and for just a little while, this moment is yours. No need to rush, no need to solve or strive, no need to be anything at all except curious. Tonight, we'll drift into a question that's as gentle as it is vast, a question that lives quietly inside every second you've ever felt, a question that floats on the surface of awareness, yet touches the deepest parts of science and self. Is this moment, the one you're in right now, truly real, or is it just an illusion? You see, time has always been a mystery. We wear it on our wrists, we mark it with calendars, we try to save it, manage it, even outrun it. But underneath all that, something doesn't add up. Because if you try to hold on to now, if you try to feel it, stop it, freeze, it appears. You live in a rhythm between what's already happened and what hasn't happened yet, a narrow place, a flickering edge. That place right there's what we call now. But what if that edge is different for each of us? What if my now is not your now? Before we float deeper into that idea, let's begin with something familiar. Close your eyes if you'd like. Let the muscles around them go soft. Let your shoulders drop just a little, and breathe. In and out. Feel how the moment stretches when you notice it, how the breath slows down time, how the world quiets, even if just for a second. That's where we'll stay, because this right here feels like now, but is it? That's the question physicists and philosophers have turned over like a stone in their palms, and for most of human history, we believed we understood. Time was like a river, they said, flowing endlessly in one direction. Same speed for all, always moving, always fair. But then came a man with kind eyes and tangled thoughts, Albert Einstein, and he changed everything. He told us that time is not absolute, that now is not a universal truth. Instead, it's personal, it bends, it stretches, it shifts, depending on how fast you're moving, and how close you are to something heavy. It's not science fiction, it's science, and once you see it, you can never see time the same way again. But don't worry, this isn't a lesson. This is a lullaby, a slow unraveling of an idea that was never truly solid. Let's try something simple together. Picture a person standing still, watching the world. Maybe that person is you. Maybe you're standing at a quiet train station. The tracks stretch out ahead. The air is hushed. And then two flashes of lightning strike. One at the front of the train, one at the back. To you, standing still, they happen at the same time. Perfectly simultaneous. But now imagine someone else. Someone riding on the train, moving quickly to them. Those two strikes did not happen at the same time. One came before the other, and they're not wrong, neither are you. This is the heart of relativity. Not a trick, not a mistake, but a truth that lives in the fabric of the universe. The moment something happens depends on where you are and how you're moving. In other words, now is not the same for everyone. Isn't that strange? Isn't that beautiful? So when we sit here, you and I, thinking we're in the same now, we might not be. We might be close, very close, but not exactly. And yet, it feels real. It feels whole, because to you, this now is everything. Every sound you hear, every thought you think, every heartbeat you feel, they all happen here, inside your personal moment, a bubble of perception, floating through space-time. Let's stay inside that bubble a little longer. Breathe again softly. Let the air fill your chest. Let it go. Slowly feel your weight against the surface beneath. You feel how time moves differently when you're still. No alarms, no clocks, no pressure to count or measure. Just a quiet unfolding of awareness, you see. Your sense of now is also a trick of your biology. Your brain stitches together sensory inputs, light, sound, temperature, motion. It creates the illusion of a seamless present, but even that takes time. Milliseconds, tiny delays. So your brain buffers the world just a little, just enough to give you the feeling of flow. The truth is, you're always living slightly in the past, always catching up to what already happened, and yet you feel grounded. You feel here, so maybe that's what matters most. Not whether now is real in some universal sense, but whether now feels real to you, because your now is the only one you can ever live in. It's your window, your center, your thread through the cosmos. Even if it's only a sliver, even if it's an illusion, it's a beautiful one, and we'll follow it together. Because this illusion, this fragile, flickering now, is more than enough to wonder about, to dream inside, to drift into sleep. So as your body grows heavier and your thoughts begin to slow, know that you are not falling behind time. You are floating with it, curled gently inside your own moment, held by gravity, rocked by relativity. Next time, we'll trace how you feel time. Not in theory, not in numbers, but in memory and motion, and quiet seconds stretched by stillness. For now, just rest. Let this chapter settle over you like dusk. Let your eyes close or drift. Let yourself soften, because whatever this moment truly is, it's enough, and it's all yours. Good night, for now. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how time stretches when you're waiting for something? How a single minute can feel like an hour when your mind is restless, when you're staring at a door or listening for footsteps that don't come. And yet, other times, an entire afternoon can slip by in seconds. You blink, and it's gone. Where did it go? Why does time behave like that? Why doesn't it flow evenly, like the ticking of a perfect clock? You might think it's just your mood or your memory. But what if I told you that what you feel is actually closer to the truth than what a clock says? What if your heartbeat, your breath, your body's rhythm are telling you a deeper story about time than even a watch could? That's what we'll explore now, because before we dive further into relativity, we need to understand something personal. The way you experience time isn't wrong. It's a language, one you've been speaking since before you could speak at all. Let's listen to it together. Take a moment now, just be still. Close your eyes, if that feels good. Can you feel your pulse, that soft thump, just beneath your skin? The steady rhythm of your own biology. That's time, to you. Not a ticking second hand, not the sun crossing the sky, just a quiet beat, measured not in numbers, but in life. Now imagine something strange. What if your heartbeat changed speed, but everything else stayed the same? What if, inside your body, time slowed down? Would the world outside seem faster? Would people seem to move in a blur? Would you feel like a ghost? You see, this isn't just a thought experiment. This is real, not in some far-off science fiction world, but right here, right now. Time, as Einstein told us, doesn't flow at the same rate for everyone. It depends on how fast you're moving. It depends on the gravity pulling on you. It even depends on where you are on a mountain, in a plane, in deep space. And yes, we can measure it. Atomic clocks, more accurate than anything you could wear, show this truth every day. Two identical clocks, one on the ground, one in a fast-moving jet. After a while, they disagree by the tiniest sliver of a second. But that sliver, it matters, especially in systems like GPS where timing has to be perfect. And here's the twist. The time shown by those clocks, it's not the same as the time you feel, because your felt time, your internal clock, is deeply human. It's emotional, subjective, alive, and yet it's not broken. It's just tuned to you. Let's stretch your imagination for a moment. Picture yourself in a waiting room. No phone, no watch, nothing to distract you. Just you and time. You feel it passing. Slow, dragging. Slow, dragging out each second feels heavier than the last. But what, exactly, are you feeling? You're not counting seconds. You're not measuring in any scientific way. You're measuring by experience, by motion, by emotion. And here's the hook. That version of time is just as real as the time physics describes. It's not wrong, it's just different. You see, physics describes time with clocks and coordinates, with equations and models. But your body measures time with heartbeats and breath, with hunger, with fatigue, with laughter. And strangely enough, when you fall in love, or face danger, or dream, your experience of time stretches and compresses, just like it does under Einstein's theory. Could that mean something? Could it mean the boundaries between inner time and cosmic time aren't as sharp as we thought? Let's go deeper. Think of a moment when time vanished completely, when you lost yourself in a song, a painting, a memory. What was that feeling? No beginning, no end, just presence, just now. Scientists call this flow state, and neurologically, it's stunning. Your brain changes speed, regions of awareness quiet down. You become, for a moment, one with time itself. But here's what's fascinating. During these moments, your internal sense of time becomes detached from what clocks say. And yet it doesn't feel wrong. In fact, it might be the most real you've ever felt. So is that an illusion? Or is it something else? Could it be that your body knows more than your calendar does? Could it be that time, the kind you feel, is trying to teach you something that maybe clocks can't capture the full shape of now? Let's rest in that thought. Right now, your heart is beating in a rhythm older than civilization. Your breath follows a pattern shaped by millions of years of evolution, and those rhythms, they've always been your first clock. Long before sundials, long before atomic time. Your body was already keeping time. Asterisk. So the next time someone says, it's just in your head, remember, so is every sunrise you've ever seen. So is every song you've ever loved. Just because something lives in your perception doesn't mean it's not real. In fact, it might be more real than anything else. Now, let's pull gently back. You are lying still. Your thoughts are calm. You're floating in this moment. And even if this moment is subjective, even if it's stretched, or slowed, or slipping away, it is yours. Entirely. Completely. Truly. And soon, you'll understand how even physics agrees that time is not what we thought, that your experience of now is shaped not only by your senses, but by gravity, speed, perspective. In the next chapter, We'll explore what happens when two people disagree on what happened at the same time. A paradox, a puzzle, a quiet crack in our assumptions. For now, though, sink into the rhythm of your own time, the one that lives in your breath, in your blood, in your bones. You don't need to understand it all right now. You only need to feel it, because sometimes what you feel is the most honest clock of all. Sleep softly, scientist. We'll meet again in a moment. Asterisk, let's imagine something simple but strange. You and I are watching the same event. Let's say a distant flash of light. At the edge of a quiet field, you see it, I see it, we agree it happened. We smile, maybe, we nod, yes, we say, that just happened now. But what if we were wrong? What if we didn't see it at the same moment? What if your now and my now were not the same thing at all? Would you believe it? That two people, standing just a few steps apart, could honestly disagree on when something happened, not because their memory is bad, not because their watch is broken, but because the universe lets that happen. That's what we're going to explore tonight. But first let's get comfortable. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the weight of the day slide off you. Breathe in and out. Let the questions settle quietly between us. What if now isn't shared? What if the moment you're living in is yours alone? We tend to believe that time is a straight line, a thread that runs through all of us together. Tug on one end, and the whole line moves. But relativity shows us something far stranger and more beautiful. Time is not a thread. It's a fabric, woven, yes, but also curved, stretched, twisted by speed and gravity. And the tighter we zoom in, the more that shared sense of now begins to fall apart. Let me take you to a thought experiment, a famous one, an elegant one. A train, a platform, and two bolts of lightning. Imagine you are standing still on the platform. The train rushes past you, and in the very instant it passes, two bolts of lightning strike the front and the back of the train. You watching from the platform, they hit at the exact same time, perfectly simultaneous. You're certain of it. Your senses tell you so. There's no doubt. But now, imagine someone else, a person sitting inside the train. They are moving, riding the same train. In the same moment, to them, the lightning strikes are not simultaneous. One came before the other. Their brain, their senses, their moment, tell them a different story. And here's the beautiful part. You're both right. Because simultaneity events happening at the same time is not absolute. It depends on who you are, where you are, and how fast you're moving. It depends on your frame of reference. That's not science fiction. That's Einstein. It's been tested, measured, proven, and yet it feels impossible, doesn't it? Because we've always believed time is shared. How could my now be different from yours? It's hard to grasp, but maybe that's okay. Maybe it's not meant to be grasped, but held, like a feather on your palm. Light, strange, unreal, and yet completely real. Let's slow it down again. Right now, as you listen, there are people moving through airports, floating in orbit, resting on mountaintops, living beneath sea level. Each one of them is experiencing time differently, minutely, subtly, but differently. Their now is shaped by their speed, their altitude, their gravity. They are in different chapters of the same book. But here's the whisper of wonder. There is no single, correct page. Each perspective writes its own version of now, and the universe doesn't mind it. Lets them coexist, just like that person on the train. Just like you, listening here. Just like me, writing this from wherever I am. We're all in slightly different bubbles of time. Tiny differences, sure, but on cosmic scales, they matter. Let's go deeper. What happens if we travel near the speed of light? Time slows down, not metaphorically, not emotionally. Literally, a clock on your wrist would tick more slowly. Your body would age more slowly. Meanwhile, the world outside, moving at normal speed, would rush past, and when you returned, you'd find that more time had passed for everyone else. This isn't imagination. It's been demonstrated with particles, with satellites, even with astronauts, and it means that what you experience as now may one day split away from someone else's version of now. Let's pause there. Let that sink in. Not to confuse you, not to overwhelm, but to remind you of something gentle and powerful. You are living in a personal version of time. It feels ordinary, it feels shared, but it's tinted subtly, invisibly, by where you are, by how fast your planet is spinning, by the gravity that holds you close. And because of that, you will never experience the exact same moment as anyone else. Not completely, not perfectly. And yet, we still try to meet each other in time. We say, I'm here now. We say, right this second. We say, let's share this moment. And somehow, despite the physics, despite the differences, we do. Because humans are more than clocks. We are storytellers, synchronizers, feelers of time. We build shared moments, not by physics, but by love, attention, presence. Even now, as you listen, we are connected across time, your now and mine, brushing fingers, just barely, just beautifully. So the next time you wonder whether you're in sync with the world, remember, you never really are, but also, you don't have to be, because your version of now is enough. It is yours, perfectly shaped to your perspective, and that is what makes it so precious. In our next chapter, we'll meet something more powerful than time itself. Gravity, we single quotes, LL, explore how it pulls on your time, like it pulls on your body, how it slows you down, gently, silently, every second of your life. But for now, breathe in, breathe out, let your thoughts float. You are suspended in a moment that no one else will ever quite live. A moment curved just for you, and that is extraordinary. Asterisk, tonight, I want to take you on a small journey. No spaceship, no machine, no math. Just a quiet train and 2 flashes of light. Let's go back to a thought we only briefly touched. A soft idea with sharp edges. If you look too closely, but don't worry, we'll look gently. Slowly, like walking barefoot across fog-damp grass. This is the story that changed time itself, and strangely, it begins in a very ordinary place. A platform, a train, 2 observers, and the speed of light. Are you ready? Close your eyes if you haven't already. Let yourself drift into the scene. You are standing still, quiet, calm. The sun is low in the sky, casting long shadows across the empty railway platform. In the distance, a train approaches. Sleek, silent, moving fast. You stand exactly at the center of the platform, and just as the middle of the train passes in front of you, 2 bolts of lightning strike, one at the front of the train, one at the back. To you, it's clear, they happened at the same time, bright, instant, perfectly symmetrical. You feel sure of it, there is no doubt in your mind. But now, shift your perspective. Climb aboard the train, sit in the middle car, right where you passed that still observer a second ago. You're moving forward, smoothly, quickly, and now, from this moving seat, you witness those same lightning bolts. But something's different. The flash from the front reaches you after the one from the back. Not by much, just a whisper of delay. But it's there to you, sitting on the train. The strikes were not simultaneous. One clearly came before the other. And just like that, something astonishing happens. To people, same event, to completely different truths. But here's the beautiful twist. You're both right, yes, both, because light always moves at the same speed. And if one person is moving, they must account for that movement when the light reaches them. This isn't illusion, it isn't trickery, it's relativity. It's the idea that simultaneity depends on motion, on frames of reference, and it's not limited to lightning or trains. This is happening right now, everywhere, on airplanes, in satellites, in space, even in your living room. The more speed is involved, the more disagreement emerges about what happens when. Let that settle for a moment. Two people can watch the exact same event and disagree about when it happened, and not because someone made a mistake, but because the universe allows it. Actually, because the universe requires it. Einstein shattered the idea of an absolute clock. He replaced it with something more poetic, more fluid, more personal. Time, he said, isn't a master clock ticking in the sky. It's something woven into space, intertwined, responsive. It bends when you move. It stretches when you accelerate. It curves when gravity pulls. And because of that, every single person experiences a slightly different version of time. Your now and mine are not identical, they never were. Let's pause again. Let that thought sit on your chest like a feather. Isn't it strange? You've lived your whole life inside your own frame of reference, never truly questioning whether others might be living slightly off beat. Not wrong, not out of sync, just tuned differently, asterisk, like instruments playing different rhythms of the same quiet song. But here's what's even more beautiful. Even in this complex dance of relativistic time, we still feel togetherness. We still meet, laugh, hold hands, say now, say wait, say forever. We build lives around the illusion that now is shared. And most of the time, for most of us, that illusion works. Because we move slowly, because the speeds we live at are gentle. But under the hood of the universe, there's a deeper truth humming quietly. Time is not absolute. It is curved, stretched, split, relative. Let's go back to the train for a moment. Let's stand between the lightning bolts once more and realize we cannot say when something really happened unless we say from where it happened. That's the secret. That's what changed. Physics forever. There is no universal now. Only perspectives. Only frames. And those frames, like people, can disagree and still be right. In the next chapter, we'll meet another quiet force that twists time even further. Gravity. We single quotes, explore how massive objects don't just pull you down, they pull time down. How the closer you are to something heavy, the slower your clock ticks, and how that's not metaphor but fact. But for now, let your thoughts settle. You are the observer, the one on the platform, the one on the train. You are both. Because in this vast, layered universe, we carry many frames inside us, and all of them are real. Let go of the need to measure. Let go of the need to agree. Let yourself Float through your own stretch of time, unhurried, undisturbed, uniquely yours. This moment, however bent, however brief, is still holding you, and perhaps that's all it needs to do. Asterisk, let me ask you something strange. What if the ground beneath you is slowing your time? Not metaphorically, not philosophically, literally. What if gravity, the gentle force that holds you here, also holds your seconds a little longer than you realize? Tonight, we're not just looking at the stars. We're stepping into the invisible curves that shape time itself. And what if I told you that if you stood on a mountaintop, just a few thousand feet above where you are now, your time would run ever so slightly faster, not in how you feel it, but in how the universe does? The clocks would disagree. And this isn't science fiction, this is real. Tested, measured, and it's happening to you right now. But first, breathe, gently, let your thoughts loosen tonight. We're stepping into the invisible gravity of wonder. We often think of gravity as something that pulls us down. It keeps our feet on the floor. It makes things fall. It's why we don't float away. But gravity is far more than that. It doesn't just act on objects. It acts on time. The deeper you fall into a gravity well, the slower your seconds stretch. Not from fatigue, not from perception, but from reality. Gravity bends time. Let's go somewhere together. A mountain, you're standing high, where the air is thin. Below you, nestled deep in the earth's gravity, people move through their day, and your clock, though identical to theirs, ticks slightly faster by a billionth of a second, but real. Now zoom out, way out. Imagine someone floating above Earth, in orbit, an astronaut far from gravity's grip. Their clock ticks even faster. They are drifting through time at a different rate than you, and not in imagination. In fact, satellites already account for this. The GPS on your phone wouldn't work if we didn't correct the clocks on those high-flying machines, because their time is running faster than yours. Your own technology is quietly negotiating with Einstein's theory every single moment. Still with me? Let's go deeper, not just to the sky, but to the edge of time itself. Let's visit a black hole, a place so massive, so impossibly dense, that nothing, not even light, can escape its grip. The gravity here, unimaginable, and near its edge. Time itself begins to stretch. If you hovered near a black hole's event horizon for just a few minutes, and then flew away safely, when you returned, centuries might have passed for everyone else. You'd feel unchanged, but the world would be gone. That's not a movie plot. It's real physics. Gravity can slow time so deeply, it becomes almost still. So if you've ever felt like the world is racing ahead of you, maybe it's not just a feeling. Maybe your place in the cosmos is gently bending your version of now. Isn't that wild? Isn't it beautiful? Let's return home, to Earth, to you, sitting still, breathing slowly. Gravity is pulling on you right now. It holds you close, even though you never see it. And as it holds your body, it also gently stretches your seconds. But here's the twist. You'll never notice, because everything around you, your heartbeat, your thoughts, your dreams, is moving at the same slowed pace. To you, it feels normal. It feels like your time. And that's exactly what it is. Because time isn't one thing, it's many small, personal rivers flowing side by side, each person in their own gentle current, each clock ticking in its own rhythm, each moment bent by gravity, like light through glass, And you're floating in one of those currents. One that no one else will ever live inside. Not exactly, not ever. Let's rest here a moment. Let your mind soften. Let your body grow. A little heavier, you're being pulled, not just by gravity, but by calm. And maybe, just maybe, that pull is slowing your perception of time too. There's an old saying in physics: matter tells space how to curve, space tells matter how to move. And to that, Einstein added, gravity tells time how to pass. It's not poetic license. It's the architecture of the universe. It means the weight of a planet, or a star, or your own body, is shaping the very tempo of your existence. So the next time you feel out of sync, the next time a second feels too long or too short, remember, you are not broken. You are just living in a curve, a soft, invisible curve, woven by gravity into the fabric of your time. In our next chapter, we'll go higher still. We'll follow the clocks in the sky, the satellites that orbit above you, the machines that prove Einstein right every single day, and we'll ask, how does technology keep track of all these different nows? How do we stay connected when time itself refuses to stay in sync? But for now, let this moment be enough. Feel gravity's gentle hand pulling you toward the bed, toward breath, toward sleep. You're not falling. You're drifting deeper into your own moment. And whatever that moment is, it is beautifully yours. Asterisk, let me begin with a quiet question. How does your phone know where you are right now? Not just the city, not just the street, but the exact spot, within feet, within seconds. Have you ever wondered? Because behind that answer is a story not of satellites and code, but of time itself. And tonight, we're floating upward, past clouds, past weather, past the still rhythm of your heartbeat, into a place where time bends and technology listens. Let's begin slowly. Let's begin with a clock, but not just any clock, an atomic clock, a device so precise it won't lose a second for millions of years. Imagine one ticking quietly on a table in a lab. Now imagine its twin strapped to the belly of a satellite, drifting 20,000 kilometers above Earth. Same make, same model, same beginning. But over time, they fall out of sync. The clock in orbit ticks just a little faster, because gravity is weaker up there, and speed plays its role. This isn't theory. It's measured every day, every second, and the difference. It's not an error, it's expected. Built into the design of the Global Positioning System, GPS. Here's the hook. If engineers didn't correct for relativity, your GPS would drift, your maps would unravel, your location would be wrong by kilometers in just a single day. All because time ticks differently in the sky. Can you feel it now? That even the phone in your hand, quiet, warm, ordinary, is whispering with machines that live in slightly different timelines, and together they agree on where you are. It's stunning. Let's go deeper. 24 satellites orbit the Earth, each one broadcasting a steady time signal, a kind of cosmic heartbeat, one every user on Earth can hear. Your phone picks up several of these pulses. It listens, measures the delay, triangulates your position based on time. But remember, those signals travel through space, through bent time, through curved gravity. So every calculation must account for the motion of the satellite, the gravitational difference between Earth and orbit, even the curvature of space itself. It's a quiet symphony of mathematics, and it works because Einstein was right. and because engineers carefully, precisely trust the fact that no two clocks tick exactly the same. Let's pause here, because this is where science becomes softly spiritual. You are lying still, breathing, drifting, and above you, invisible to your eyes, are machines in orbit, trusting the rhythm of time as it changes. What does that mean? It means we no longer live in a world where time is rigid. It means even our most exact technologies depend on the idea that now is relative, and still it all works. The satellites disagree on when now is, but together they create precision. Isn't that a lesson? That maybe even when we're out of sync, we can still build something beautiful. Let's imagine now, what would happen if we launched 2 more satellites, identical clocks, same orbit, same systems, but one flies slightly higher, just a few kilometers, and that one, its clock ticks faster, not by much, but enough to drift apart from its sibling, enough to change location readings on Earth, enough to remind us again that altitude bends time. So here's the deeper wonder. Your location on Earth, your place in space, depends entirely on the universe's refusal to tick time. The same for everyone. We have stopped fighting it. We have learned to design for distortion, to measure the warp, to embrace the idea that no clock, no person, no experience, is perfectly aligned. And in that design, we've found function. GPS systems prove it. Satellite communications prove it. Every plane that lands, every ship that docks, every step you take following your map, it's all built on the idea that time is curved. Let's breathe now. Feel the calm of that thought. That disagreement doesn't always mean failure. That a shared truth can be built from differences. And maybe that's what relativity has always been whispering. That your now is not wrong, even if it doesn't match mine, even if it drifts, even if it's only a heartbeat. Different, because when we stop pretending time is rigid, we make room for more accurate stories, more human ones, more cosmic ones. In the next chapter, we'll return to Earth. We'll talk about you, your brain, your memories, your perception of past, present, and future, and how time, as you feel it in your mind, isn't just curved by gravity or speed, but by emotion. We'll explore how time flies, drags, blurs, not in space, but inside you. But for now, let your thoughts float up with the clocks in the sky. Let your heart beat slow. Let your breath soften. You are not just in time. You are woven into it. And time, in turn, listens to where you are. Sleep gently, scientist. We'll meet again in your own perfect version of now. Let me ask you something deeply personal. Why do some moments linger while others vanish? Why does 1 hour feel like a blink, while a single minute in certain spaces feels like forever? You've felt this. We all have. The birthday that disappeared too quickly. The waiting room that stretched into something unbearable. The summer that slipped through your fingers. The heartbreak that froze time entirely. So tonight, we step inward, because if time can bend in space, if gravity and motion can stretch seconds, what about your mind? Could it be that the strangest distortions of time don't happen near black holes, but right behind your eyes? Let's begin with a truth we rarely speak. You've never actually touched time. You've only ever felt it. And what you feel is not always what the clock shows. Breathe in. And now breathe out. Let this thought land softly in your chest. Your brain does not sense time directly. There's no organ for it, no eye for it, no skin that touches it. Instead, your mind infers time from change, from rhythm, from memory. And when those things shift, so does your experience of time. Let's take an example. Have you ever driven home on a familiar route, only to arrive and wonder, how did I get here so fast? Your brain collapsed the journey, compressed the experience, filed it as routine. Now think of the first time you went to that place. Every corner felt new, every sign registered. Time seemed to stretch open, making space for everything you were. Noticing this is called the novelty effect. Your brain gives more attention to the unfamiliar. More attention means more memory, and more memory feels like more time. So when you look back, eventful days feel long, and empty days, they vanish. Here's a strange but true hook. You don't remember time, you remember change. The more changes you experience emotionally, physically, visually, the longer the memory feels, which is why childhood summers seem to stretch endlessly, because everything was new, everything was vivid. Your brain was wide open, and now you scroll, repeat, sleep, repeat, and time slips through the cracks, not because there's less of it, but because your mind isn't saving the moments. Let's go deeper. What happens in trauma, in danger, in those seconds when everything slows down, when the crash is coming, when the fall begins, when you hear the words you wish you hadn't? People say it all the time. It was like time stopped. And in a way, it did, because the brain enters a state of hyper-awareness. Your perception widens. You take in more detail, more sound, more movement. You store more memory in less time, and later, looking back, it feels like everything unfolded in slow motion. But the clock, it didn't slow at all. Your mind did. The bending dot. The same happens in love, in awe, in grief. Time becomes elastic. It swells, it contracts. Because emotion is a clock, too, a powerful one. And that means when you say, that day flew by, or that week felt like a year, you're not being poetic, you're being honest. You're being honest. Your mind is experiencing time differently than the world measures it, and that difference is real. Let's pause here. Let your breath soften. Let your thoughts drift through your own memories, the long ones, the short ones. Try to remember what time felt like in those moments. Not what the clock said, but what your body said. And you'll see you've already lived thousands of versions of time. Some light, some heavy, some still unfolding. And maybe that's what makes being human so strange. We live in a body that follows physics, but a brain that doesn't always agree. A brain that sees time not as a straight road, but as a story, full of flashbacks, pauses, fast forwards, and dreams. Let's go to sleep now with one last thought. You are not wrong when time feels strange. You are not broken when the hours bend or the minutes vanish. It means you are alive. It means you are sensing not just what is, but what it means. And meaning, as it turns out, is the strongest force time ever meets. In the next chapter, we'll take this even further. We'll ask the quiet question that scientists and philosophers have whispered for centuries. If no one observes time, does it still exist? A question of consciousness, of presence, of what time really is when no one's watching. But for now, drift gently into your own internal rhythm. Let your memories rise and fall. Let the seconds soften. Let the strangeness of time feel safe. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly in your own moment, and it is beautiful. Asterisk, let me ask a question that's almost too quiet. If no one is there to witness a moment, does it still happen? If a second ticks in the dark and felt unremembered, can it truly be called time? It sounds like a riddle or a late-night philosophy class, but this is physics and consciousness and the space between them. Tonight, we wander into that space, not to find hard answers, but to feel the shape of the question. So get comfortable, let your breath settle, let your shoulders loosen, and let the strangeness arrive softly, because this chapter begins not with clocks, but with the observer. You see, time only ever matters when someone feels it. A clock on the wall may tick for centuries, but if no one watches it, is that ticking part of the universe, or just a ghost in metal? Let's ask it another way. If a particle decays in the vacuum of deep space, and no instrument is there to record it, did it happen? Physics says yes, but meaning whispers, maybe not, because time, as we experience it, is not just what happens, it's what is noticed. And this isn't just poetry in quantum mechanics. There is a concept that pulls us even deeper into mystery. The observer effect. The idea that some particles only take on definite states once they are observed. Until then, they remain probabilities. Clouds of potential. Neither here nor there, neither this nor that. And while this applies to the smallest things, the subatomic whispers of reality suggests something wild, that the act of observation can define what is real, not by choice, but by physics. Let's pause there, let it sink in like warm tea. The universe may require your attention to take shape, so what does that mean for time? If you close your eyes, does the room stop aging? If a tree falls in a forest, yes, we ask about the sound, but what about the moment? Did it ever happen? If no one was present to register its passing? This is where science begins to hold hands with philosophy, because time, at least how we know it, is a collaboration between events and awareness, between clocks and memory. Think of your dreams. You sleep for 8 hours, but in your mind, time behaves differently. Moments expand, collapse, loop. You may live a year in the folds of a dream that lasted 30 seconds, but when you wake, you don't question it, because your perception wrote the timeline. You were the observer, and in that world, your observation shaped time. So maybe here, in waking life, something similar is always happening. Let's take a simple example. Have you ever walked into a room only to forget why? The moment feels empty, disconnected. Time seemed to continue, but meaning didn't follow. And then, when you remember, it's like the moment locks back into place. Your awareness returned, and time, in your mind, restarted. Of course, the clocks kept ticking, but your internal timeline paused, or at least faded. And again, we come back to this truth. Time is not just what happens, time is what is witnessed. Here's a stranger thought. Could the entire universe be like that? Could time itself only move forward because something or someone is there to witness it? We don't know, but some physicists have asked whether time, as we define it, might be emergent, not fundamental, not automatic, but something that arises only when conditions allow, only when observers exist. Let's soften that idea. No need to fear it, no need to solve it. Just feel the weight of it gently. You are an observer, not just of stars, of clocks, of calendars, but of the moments between thoughts, the seconds between heartbeats, and your observation. gives time a kind of structure. It doesn't mean the world depends on you, but it means your world unfolds with you. Each second only becomes real once you meet it. Let's bring it closer now to you. Lying still, listening, half in sleep. Right now, your attention is floating, and so time floats too. You are slowing it, stretching it, gently guiding it, just by being aware. And if your awareness dims, if sleep overtakes you, time will still exist, but you won't feel it until you return. So maybe that's the quiet truth. Time is there, but now is yours. Now is what happens when the universe passes through you. In our next chapter, we'll explore something even stranger. Entropy. Entropy. The reason time seems to move in one direction. The arrow, the flow. Why do we remember the past, but never the future? Why do things fall apart, but never fall together? And what does that have to do with sleep, with dreams, with the warmth of tea growing cold? But for now, let the present moment dissolve. Let the second you're in soften around the edges. There's nothing to observe, nothing to fix, nothing to chase. You're allowed to drift. Time will wait, and when you return, it will become real again. Let me begin with a simple, haunting question. Why do you remember the past, but not the future? It's something we accept, but rarely question. Why is your mind like a book you can only read in one direction, page by page, forward, never backward, never skipping ahead? But if time is just another dimension, if it stretches out like space, then why can't we roam through it the way we wander through memory? Tonight, we're going to explore the one-way street of existence, a quiet, inevitable flow, called the arrow of time. So take a slow breath. Let yourself lean into curiosity. Let your body rest, because this journey is gentle but profound. First, a thought experiment. Imagine a video. A cup falls off a table. It shatters now. Play it in reverse. The shards leap from the floor. They fly up. They reassemble mid-air. And the cup lands, whole, on the table. You know, instantly, that something is wrong, because that's not how the world works. That's not how time works. But why not? Physics tells us, the laws that govern the world don't care which way time flows. Equations still work in reverse. A planet orbiting a star, you could play it backward, and the math would still hold. A ball rolling across a floor, backwards is just as legal as forwards. And yet, you've never seen a broken egg reassemble, never watched a melted candle grow tall again, never remembered tomorrow. So what's happening? The answer is hidden in the concept of entropy, and entropy is the secret clock behind everything you feel. Let's slow it down. Entropy is a measure of disorder. More precisely, it's the number of ways a system can be arranged while still looking the same overall. And in our universe, entropy always increases. That's the second law of thermodynamics. It's not just a rule, it's a truth, so consistent, it might be the most universal law of all. Things fall apart, not because they must, but because there are more ways to fall apart than to stay together. Here's a soft metaphor. Imagine a pristine library. Every book on the right shelf, alphabetized, perfect. Now shake the room. Books tumble, fall, scatter. Now shake it again. The mess increases. But will the books ever fly back into place? They could, but the chances are unimaginably small. There are trillions of ways to be messy, and only one way to be perfectly neat. That's entropy. It means the probable future is always messier than the past. And that's why you can't remember the future, because it hasn't organized itself yet. It hasn't happened in a way your brain could store. It's still unfolding into greater disorder. So why does time move forward? Because entropy increases. Because a cracked egg has more possible states than an unbroken one. Because heat spreads. Because systems mix. Because everything eventually fades. But here's the beautiful twist. It's this very chaos that allows you to exist. Your body runs on heat, on chemical gradients, on energy flowing from order to disorder. Without that imbalance, life couldn't think, breathe, dream. You are a structure that uses entropy to make thoughts, and those thoughts anchor you to the past. Let's reflect. You remember yesterday, because it was more ordered than today. Your brain took a low entropy moment and recorded it. But tomorrow is a rising tide of possibilities. To many, to uncertain, to unreal, until it happens. And that's why memory moves one way, because the arrow of entropy pulls time with it, quietly, constantly, irreversibly. Let's rest here. You may be thinking, but what if entropy decreases somewhere? And the truth is, it can locally. A fridge makes things colder. You can clean a room, heal a wound, but to do so, you must spend energy, and somewhere else, entropy increases even more. The arrow remains unbroken. That's why ice melts, why stars burn, why tea goes cold, and why, no matter how hard you try, you can never return to a moment exactly as it was. Even if the place is the same, even if the people are the same. The entropy has changed, and time gently, firmly has moved on. But maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe there's peace in the one-way journey. You never have to relive your hardest day. The glass, once shattered, stays shattered. But also, the present moment is always new, always becoming, always blooming. There's magic in knowing that this moment has never existed before, and will never come again. A unique arrangement of atoms, of breath, of thought, and you're inside it. In our next chapter, we'll explore what this means for eternity. If time has a direction, can it have an end? What happens to now when the universe reaches equilibrium? What happens when entropy finishes its climb? A question not just of physics, but of finality. But for now, drift with the current, let go of the need to turn around. There is no backward, only now, and what it becomes, and you are becoming, too. Gently, inevitably, wonderfully. Let me begin this last chapter with a whisper. What happens when time runs out, not like a clock, but like a candle? Not because the numbers stop, but because there's simply nothing left to change. No more gradients, no more heat, no more motion. Just silence, stillness, symmetry. Could there be a moment so empty that even time itself forgets how to move? Tonight, in our final drift together, we reach far forward, beyond memory, beyond planets, beyond stars. We travel into what physicists call the heat death of the universe. Not because it will be hot, but because, in the end, everything warm has already cooled. Let's begin gently, right now. Our universe is alive with imbalance. Stars burn, galaxies spin. Energy moves from place to place. That movement, that contrast, is what makes time feel alive. But entropy is always rising. Every star that shines pours out light and heat into colder, emptier space. And that energy, spreads, thins, fades, fades. Over trillions of years, galaxies will run out of gas. Stars will dim, black holes will slowly evaporate, and eventually there will be no more engines left, no fire, no light, no sound, only particles, drifting in vast, uniform darkness. Here's the hook. When entropy reaches its peak, when everything is evenly spread, nothing more can happen. No gradients equals no heat flow. No energy equals no work. No change equals no time. Because time, as we understand it, requires difference. A before and after. But in this future, there will be no after, because nothing will change. Time won't end with a bang. It will end with a whisper. Or maybe it will just fade. Let's slow down here. This isn't meant to frighten you. This isn't a countdown, it's a perspective. We are so early in the story of the universe that the ending is trillions upon trillions of years away. The stars still burn. The winds still move. You still breathe. But there's something beautiful in imagining the farthest edge. A time when time itself might slip off like mist from a morning field. Not destroyed, just no longer necessary. Because if nothing can change, what is there left to measure? Here's the quiet paradox. When entropy is at its lowest, like just after the Big Bang, the universe was small, but full of potential. And when entropy is at its highest, everything is spread out, cold, uniform, but completely empty of possibility. Both extremes are silent, and in between is now your moment, your breath, a temporary window where time can move, and life can wander. You are living in the rare golden sliver of the universe, where clocks tick and thoughts exist. Let that settle in your chest. You are part of the only era where time is even possible. Let's imagine the far future now. A quiet, infinite night. No stars, no suns, no stories. Just the final particles, nearly still, nearly silent. It sounds sad, but maybe it's peaceful. Because the universe is not collapsing, it's resting. After a lifetime of motion, it simply stops needing time. And if that's true, then time is not a line with a beginning and an end. It's a flower. It blooms for a while, bright, complex, alive, and then it folds closed. So what does this mean for you? For the seconds you live inside? It means your life, your thoughts, your stories are fleeting miracles of structure, temporary sculptures in the current of entropy. And that's okay, because temporary things are often the most beautiful. A breath, a spark, a song. You are made of atoms that used to be inside stars. You are borrowing them for now, arranging them into a thinking, feeling form, and someday they'll scatter again. But while they're here, they hold a clock, and they make that clock matter. Let's rest here now, because this is the end not just of the chapter, but of our journey. We began by asking, is now just an illusion? We wandered through physics, relativity, consciousness, entropy, and what we found is not an answer, but a gentler question. Maybe now isn't an illusion. Maybe it's a gift. Not because it lasts, but because it doesn't. Because it passes. Because it never repeats. And because, for just a moment, you are here. So as you close your eyes, as the seconds drift away like stars at dawn, remember this: you are not trapped in time. You are part of its unfolding. You are not a victim of entropy. You are its most delicate arrangement. And this now, this fleeting, breathing, beautiful now, is yours, soft, slow, real. Sleep gently, curious mind. Time will hold your dreams, and when you return, there will be a new now waiting for you, and it too will be a wonder, will be a wonder.